everybody. I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on context clues. And before we start with our lesson on context clues, you're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with your username as well as your password, and then you're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 7, and then you're going to scroll down up until you get to the chapter of context clues. All right, so we're doing context clues. So our chapter is context clues. Our subject is English, which is language arts, grade 7. And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of context clues is to determine the meaning of the words using antonyms in context, to determine the meaning of domain-specific words and with pictures, and to determine the meaning of the words using synonyms in context. All right. So we see that our chapter is context clues, grade 7, and we're going to do like a few lessons right under the chapter of context clues. And before we start, we are also doing our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca, right? So when it comes to context clues, so context clues. So when you encounter unfamiliar words, then you can often use antonyms as context clues to help determine the words' meanings. So antonyms is basically the words with the opposite meaning. So when you encounter unfamiliar words, then you can often use antonyms as context clues to help determine the words' meaning. And antonyms are words with opposite meaning. Antonyms are words with opposite meaning. And antonyms, we said, are words with opposite meaning. And although the bank's employees thought the currency looked real, the federal investigator easily determined that the bill were counterfeit. All right. So we said, although the bank's employees thought that the currency looked real, the federal investigator easily determined that the bill were counterfeits. All right. So when you encounter unfamiliar words, then you can often use antonyms as context clues to help determine the words' meanings. So when we encounter unfamiliar words, you can often use antonyms as context clues to help determine the words as meanings. And we said antonyms are words with opposite of the meanings. And although the bank's employees thought that the currency looked real, the federal investigators they easily determined that the bill were counterfeit. It's like they were fake. All right. So we said that when it comes to context clues, right, there will always be unfamiliar words. So we see that when you encounter unfamiliar words, right, then you can often use antonyms as context clues to help determine the words. So it can basically be any words, right? As long as you're making meaning of the words by using antonyms, which is words with opposite meaning, to kind of get to what you think might be the meaning of the word. And we see that antonyms, right? Because remember, we said our lesson is determine the meaning of the words using antonyms in context. So antonyms really can help you figure out counterfeit meanings or forge. Or antonyms can basically help you find basically the meaning or to make meaning of certain unfamiliar words, right? And remember, we did say that we are doing our tutorial lesson on A plus students. Let's see, A. And this is now to determine the meaning of the words using antonyms in context. All right. So we said that, so when we encounter unfamiliar words, you can often use antonyms as context clues to help determine the words' meanings, right? And antonyms are words with opposite meanings. And an example is although the bank's employees thought that the currency looked real, the federal investigator determined or easily determined that the bills were counterfeit. And the antonym, right, real, can help you figure out that counterfeit actually means fake or forged. So the antonym real. All right. So when it comes to context clues, right, then we also need to ask ourselves what is the meaning of certain words within a passage, right? And like we say, if we don't understand the word, and then we can maybe try and try to find words to help determine the meaning of certain words. And we can start with antonyms, which is words with opposite in meaning, right? Or opposite meaning. All right. So, what is the meaning of the word concise? So, the word concise, as used in the passage, right? So, we are going to read the word in the passage and then we need to say what the word concise means, right? We need to use the antonyms, wordy, as a context clue to help determine the meaning. Writing that is concise often conveys its message most clearly and effectively to the reader. You can prevent your writing from becoming too wordy by deleting unnecessary words and phrases and by using specific, precise language. All right. So he says that write that is concise often conveys its message most clearly and effectively to the reader. You can prevent your writing from becoming too wordy. So it means that if you are writing a lot of stuff, lengthy stuff, it becomes too wordy, right? Then you need to try and prevent that. And how do we prevent that? By deleting unnecessary words or phrases and by using specific, precise languages. And then we must not say that when we encounter unfamiliar words, then you can often use antonyms as context clues to help determine the words' meaning, right? So when it comes to the passage, so in the passage, the the use of antonyms wordy, it helps to determine that the word concise means short. So we say that in the passage, the use of antonyms wordy, it helps to determine that the word concise means short and to the point. It's like short and straight to the point, right? And once it becomes wordy, right, your text or your writing, and then it basically just becomes a repetitive of words. repetitive of sentences, lines, and you're basically now starting to repeat a lot of things. All right. And most therapy is a popular treatment for relieving stress and pain. But it isn't for everyone. Messages are intended to calm patients, but they often perturb those who are uncomfortable with an unfamiliar touch. So perturbed, right? So once again, it's a massage therapy is a popular treatment for relieving stress and pain, but it isn't for everyone. Massages are intended to calm patients, but they often perturb those who are uncomfortable with a unfamiliar touch. And in the passage, right, if we look at the word calm, we look at the word calm, or the antonym, the opposite of calm, right? So the word calm, or the antonym of calm, it helps to determine the word perturb. So this big word perturb, it means to either bother or it means to upset. So massage therapy is a popular treatment for relieving stress and pain, but it isn't for everyone. Because remember, not everybody feels the calmness and relaxation through massages, right? Depending also on how hard or soft they're also giving you the massage. Then massages are intended to calm their patients, right? Yes. So we see that massages are intended to calm the patients, right? But they often perturb, right? Those who are uncomfortable with an unfamiliar touch. And perturb, it means to either bother or to upset. To bother or to upset. That is the meaning of perturb. So we said the familiar things are perturb, calm, right? Because we say that we need to find at least the antonym of the word that is underlined before the word in bold. So we say that massage therapies is a popular treatment for relieving stress and pain, but it isn't for everyone, as massages are intended to calm some patients, but they often perturb those who aren't comfortable with an unfamiliar touch. And we said perturb, it means to bother or upset, right? And we have that type of wording twice. So let us go to our test, where we're going to determine the meaning of using antonyms in context. So now we're going to say, what is the meaning of the word insufficient as used in the passage, right? And remember, we said that we should use antonyms also in context in order to determine the meaning of a specific word, right? So, what is the meaning of the word insufficient as used in the passage? Use the antonyms enough as a context clue to help you determine the meaning. And remember, we said an antonym is the word with an opposite meaning. So, in a criminal trial, lawyers for the defense may try to have the case dismissed for a variety of reasons. So we say that in a criminal trial, lawyers for the defense may try to have the case dismissed for a variety of reasons. For example, if they feel like the prosecuting attorney hasn't provided enough proof, or they may ask the judge to dismiss this case for insufficient evidence. So now we need to look at the word enough, right? So we need to use the antonym enough as a context clue to help determine the meaning of enough. Enough, is it inadequate or lacking, unnecessary or unreliable? So we need to use the antonym enough as a context clue. And enough, or the opposite of enough, if we should put it like that, means inadequate or lacking. So if it's not enough, then it means that you are lacking or it's inadequate, right? Because enough means plenty, it means a lot. So what is the meaning of the word conspicuous as used in the passage? We need to use the antonyms hidden as a context clue to help you determine the meaning. So don't be so conspicuous, Detective Kathy Coleman said when her partner peered out the open car window with binoculars pressed to his face. We need a stay, we need to stay hidden. As the subject of the investigation walked down the street, Kathy adjusted the angle of the camera on her sunglasses and snapped some photos. So if we look at the word hidden, right, we need to find the antonym, the words with the opposite meaning of hidden. So hidden, is it obvious or is it impatient? Obvious or impatient? Let's go. Impatient is like you're not patient. So obvious is the only word I can think of. So obvious, yes, right? Because impatient is of course a negative word. So we need to say what is the meaning of the word rivalry as used in the passage. So we need to say what is the meaning of the word rivalry as used within the passage. So rivalry. But we need to use the antonym friendship as a context clue to help you determine the meaning. So basketball legend Evan Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were rivals throughout their college and professional careers. When they shot a commercial together in 1986, however, Johnson and Bird's rivalry transitioned into friendship. That served as the basis for a Broadway show called Magic Bird. And if we look at the opposite of friendship, right? So they say we need to find the word in friendship. So we need to use the antonym, which is friendship. Your friendship, the opposite of friendship, I would say it's a violent encounter. That's the only thing I can think of, a violent encounter. Ooh, a state of competition. Since when is friendship a state of competition? So rivalry refers to a state of competition. So what is the meaning of the word chide as used within the passage? We need to use the antonym applaud as a context clue to help you determine the meaning. So we need to use the antonyms applaud as a context clue to help you determine the meaning of the passage. I often chide my husband about his cell phone addiction. He always checks his messages in the middle of dinner and even at the movies. If he tried to limit his cell phone usage every now and then, I would applaud him for his efforts. So we need to also use the antonym as applaud for the context clue to help determine the meaning of the word. And applaud, right? I think applaud is like to express approval, right? That is when you're applauding something. So I'll assume that antonym, the opposite of meaning, is to express disapproval of something. All right. So, like I say, usually the word applaud when you cheer for someone, right? You are happy, it's like you're giving you approval, it's like, yay, good job, right? So, I assume that if we say applaud and we got asked the opposite of applaud, then we're going to say express disapproval of. So, applaud, let's say to express disapproval of. Yes, because that is the opposite of applaud, right? To express disapproval of. And then what is the meaning of the word obsolete as used in the passage, right? So we're going to read the passage now. Then we need to use the antonym, which is current, as a context clue to help you determine the meaning. So as technology continues to evolve, I, items that are valuable. So as technology continues to evolve, items are available today that items that are valuable sorry today may be thrown in the trash tomorrow. Typewriters, public payphones, and cassette tapes are all examples of technologies that were once current, but thanks to computers, cell phones, and digital audio, they are now obsolete. So they are now obsolete. And if we look at the meaning of the word obsolete, so the meaning of the word obsolete is it's no longer produced or used. It is out of date. So if something is out of date, and then we call it obsolete. It's no longer in use, it's no longer produced. So which means that if we look at the word current, right, and we look at the opposite of the word current, then I guess we would say no longer in use. So current is no opposite of current is no longer in used, right? All right. So now we're going to determine the meaning of the domain specific words with pictures. Let's rather go to the next one. We're going to determine the meaning of the words using synonyms, and synonyms are the same or almost the same in meaning. Antonyms are opposite in meaning. Synonyms are the same or almost the same in meaning. Oopsie. Determine the meaning of the words using synonyms in context. So Harold is studying veterinary, veterinary, veterinary medicine at university. So he often reads books and magazines that pertain to animal health issues. Articles that relate to the latest medication and treatment available for horses are of particular interest to him since he plans to become an equine veterinarian, a vet who specializes in the care of horses. Right? So we now need to select the synonym that helps you understand the meaning of the word pertain. So pertain. So when you encounter unfamiliar words, you can use synonyms as context clues to help determine the words' meanings, right? And we said synonyms are words with either the same or nearly the same meaning. And it says that Jesse's buoyant personality is infectious. Wherever we spend time together, or whenever we spend time together, I end up in a cheerful mood too. So, which means that if we look at the two words cheerful and we look at the word buoyant, right, they are actually some synonyms of one another. Because the synonym cheerful can help you figure out that buoyant also means to be happy or to be upbeat. And then if we, like the first question that says that, select the synonym that helps you understand the meaning of the word pertain. So when it comes to, we need to find the meaning of the word pertain, right? And we said the synonym relate helps you understand the meaning of pertain, which means that the meaning of pertain is basically relate. So what is the meaning of the word solace as used in the passage? After Zachary, the junior defensive end on the football team, broke his leg and missed the championship game, he found solace in the realization that he would be able to return in his senior year. The fact that his team won the state championship was also a source of comfort for him. And when you encounter unfamiliar words, you can use synonyms, right? So we say synonyms are basically words with the same meaning or almost the same meaning. And an example is Jessica's buoyant personality is infectious. Wherever we spend time together, I end up in a cheerful mood. And then also the synonym cheerful. It can help you figure out that buoyant also means happy and buoyant also means buoyant. All right. So we said that we needed to find the meaning of the word solace, and solace is basically finding comfort, right? And it's relief of the sadness and the relief of suffering. All right. So we said that comfort, right, is a synonym or the same as solace. And solace, it means to relieve sadness or to even to relieve the suffering, right? All right. Now let's go to test. So it says that we need to select the synonym, which is the meaning almost the same or similar. So we need to find the synonym that helps you understand the meaning of the word discern. So we need to select the synonym that helps you understand the meaning of the word discern. So which means that if we want to try and find the word discern, we can say as the sun began to sit, the island castaway was barely able to discern a ship on the horizon. Did that meaning did that mean that someone on board the ship might be able to notice him too? He jumped to his feet and frantically waved his arms, yelling, "Over here! Over here!" So discern, right? To discern about something is it to notice or to jump. So we can say discern is basically to notice, not to jump. All right, so now context clues, right? So that is the end of our lesson on context clues. And we had to determine the meanings using words with antonyms as well as synonyms in context, right? Meaning that if we sometimes don't know what a word or a phrase is within a text, and then we can try and find either the antonym of it or the synonym of the word in order to make meaning of the text. So thank you very much, grade 7, for joining the class. Till next time, goodbye.